5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome to the Rideshare Zone, where every ride matters. And now, here is your host, Shawn, the Colorado Rideshare Guy.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode number 23 of the Rideshare Zone. Still hanging in there, guys. You haven't run me away yet. I appreciate all of you that keep showing up. And let's see who all we got in the house. We got Twin Pine Studio. We got Traveler. We got Awesome Amy. Bubba Sue. Rideshare Rodeo says, let's get it on. Eve Tall. We're going to talk about Eve Tall, of course. We got to talk about Eve Tall. You already taught me to be late. Hey, man, I'm not as late as you ever. That was 1 minute. So that's not late. That's fashionably tardy, as we say in the industry. Look at me like I think I'm some old podcaster. Anyway, welcome in, everyone. I appreciate all you guys. You guys are awesome. And thanks for coming in. And those of you that didn't get a chance, go join Steve's membership. He just had a great live talking about catering and other things too, about answering a lot of good questions for everybody. So hopefully everyone that was in there enjoyed it. The rest of you that didn't, go join, go get a membership. It's, what is it, like 99 cents, Steve, or $2.49, whatever, if you're an Apple user, because they screw everybody over. But anyway, welcome in. You can find me on all the major socials under CO Ride Guy, and then the Rideshare Zone on all the podcast platforms. And don't forget to join my Patreon, because I'm going to start doing some stuff there really soon. Particularly, we've got one topic tonight that I think I'm just going to cover the whole thing on the Patreon. So make sure you join it. Membership's free right now. We'll close it down at some point, but right now we're letting everybody in. And even with the free membership, we will gift you a lifelong membership for being a founding member on there. So anyway, holy smoke, there's so much going on. Awesome Amy says hit that like button. We got Toyo came in too. How you doing, Toyo? So we got a lot going on. If I get somebody hit the panic button or something, if I start droning on and on, particularly about this legislative issue, and that's the one I think I'm going to hit most of it on my Patreon. But it's really important. We've talked about it a couple times. Steve and I talked about it. So we've got the legislation that's going on that's going to affect everybody, riders and passengers. We've got, of course, Waymo. We're going to talk about them tonight. Got to talk about Waymo. I got a last minute one that I was like, you got to put it on. You got to put it on. Okay, fine, because like 3 different people sent it to me. We're going to talk about Tesla Robotaxis, Tesla and what they're doing for the blind. They're doing some kind of cool stuff, guys. You might want to listen to this. I do a lot of hating on the autonomous vehicles, but Tesla, I'm starting to have a hard time hating on them with a lot that they're doing. The co-op endangering the UK with robots. Probably not the co-op you're thinking of or that I normally talk about. Delaware Lyft driver, the Fong-Gillen Amendment, that's the legislative thing we're going to talk about. And illegal delivery jobs by foreign workers soar, but the government cracks down on it. Yeah, you heard me right. We'll talk about that one tonight, too. So, anyway, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thought I'd give you a little sneak peek about all some of the stuff that we got going on. And, yeah, Bubba Sue, you posted the same Waymo story that everybody was sitting there sending me stuff about it. So apparently everybody wants to hear about it, wants to see it. So let's just jump it right into into Waymo. But before we get into that one, I want to talk about, actually, this is one that everybody's saying we got to talk about. We're going to talk about the Waymo pretending to be a police car with this. So in California, there was these 15-year-old kids, and I just literally, it didn't even make it into my script because I finally got convinced, got it printed out. So these 15-year-old kids were screwing around. They were pointing, they were shooting. It was either airsoft or probably those stupid, what are those old, Amy, I think you know I'm talking about, those Orbeez things. They shoot the little tiny, you put them in water and they swell up. But anyway, 15-year-old kids were screwing around in a Waymo and joyriding the Waymo. Not joyriding because they paid for the ride, I guess, on mom, dad's, their own account. 15-year-old has a freaking card and gets to order their own freaking Waymo. Oh yeah, this is what happens when you let your 15-year-old kid. Also, they were found drinking alcohol, and so shooting toy guns out the back of the car. So it never gets real descriptive about what's going on with that. But social media, there's a social media post by the San Mateo Police Department, and them surrounding the vehicle, guns drawn. They even brought out a canine unit. So Waymo got freaked out, and even this little autonomous piece of crap got scared and ran itself to the police station, and they surrounded this damn thing. Now, Waymo, good job. You finally did something freaking right. So, now you get your little deputy dog badge. And but I'm going to say Waymo did the right thing with this. If you want to protect life and property, and if the property can get it to the police station, then go to the police station. So Waymo, congratulations. You finally did something freaking right for once. And again, bad parenting. Waymo, look at this. Legislators, look at this and say, do we want minors unaccompanied in Waymos? Hell no. Do we want any autonomous vehicle? And then furthermore, I ain't their damn parents, so don't put them in my rideshare car either. So, Colorado, you just went and screwed up and made it where a 10-year-old can even ride unaccompanied. This is the kind of shit that's going to start happening. This is exactly why me and other rideshare drivers, and hell, anybody that's been a parent to a kid that's a little ambitious, I'm not going to say I wouldn't have done the same stupid shit whenever I was 15 years old too. If I could have got away with it, probably wouldn't have been drinking though. I waited a little bit longer for that. But come on, Waymo, come on, legislators, stop this crap. Don't let them in there. The interesting thing is so this is California, and California is really, I'm not an expert on the laws, but I know as far as recording a phone conversation, it's a two-party consent state, so you have to have both parties consent. But Waymo has the ability to listen in and start videotaping, but do they have the right to videotape a minor? Is that in their terms of service, or what gives them the right to do that? So now we start talking about all this other civil rights crap. The simple answer is Waymo, legislators, rideshare companies, don't let minors in the damn vehicle. Period. End of freaking story. Welcome in, Torp. See you in there, brother. So knock this freaking nonsense off. That's the simple freaking answer. I don't know why we have to freaking have these stupid conversations about this stuff, but we do, and we're going to keep talking about them until they change freaking legislation about it. So irresponsible to all ends. Yeah, irresponsible by the parents, irresponsible by the damn kids. They need to be taken behind the woodshed and given a little good old-fashioned corporal punishment. Oh no, now I'm going to get called whatever. I'm going to get called mean names by the people that think everybody needs to. Anyway, whatever. I digress. Well, looks like Steve's going to drag me back into it. He says California is a banana republic of it's not communism anymore. It's democratic socialism, Steve. Let's catch up with the softer and kinder words with it. So, yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is bullshit. I mean, look what happened with the 60s, the hippies from the 60s. They raised freaking people like me. We just don't give a shit about anybody and their feelings or anything else. Who knows what's going on now? I can't even imagine what's going on with these democratic socialists, as they love to call themselves. But anyway, thank you, Torp. I appreciate you, brother. So anyway, that's our first Waymo story to start the freaking night off with. So let's see if we can get that one closed out. And did you all see what happened in San Francisco? Of course, it's 250th anniversary of this freaking country. God bless America. 250 years of treason and 250 years of kicking ass. And even San Francisco, look, man, love the old San Francisco and that crazy little spirit that they have. But, man, hopefully some of the fireworks got rid of some of the other problems that they got going on. And even San Francisco was celebrating heavy. And they had, over 100,000 people is what they estimated. I bet it was more than that. I mean, come on, you got to have more people than that went down to San Francisco and saw all the fireworks that was going on. And well, meanwhile, after all that craziness was done, we had this freaking happen. Waymo after Waymo after Waymo. Stranded Waymos. So, some of these Waymos, just like people, got stuck in freaking traffic, couldn't get out of it, had all kinds of problems, including this poor guy. Was it Dominion Hernandez? Waymo. This sums it up perfectly. We can almost end the whole conversation with this. Waymo, we've been trapped by your car for 4 hours behind the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco. Fix your shit now. I think that pretty well sums it up, those 4 words. Anybody else got anything? That's about all I'd have on that. Now, what I will say... Oh, shut up. What I will say is Waymo actually did something right in all this. So I was looking through the article, and then we get the same old crap from Waymo. By the way, I'm going to start, Steve, we got to talk about this. We got to collaborate on this one, man. But I'm going to start a Waymo spokesperson bingo card. I don't know what we're going to give away, but when somebody finally gets our bingo card, we'll make a bunch. We'll just randomize where they're at, like bingo cards do, and then we're going to start a Waymo. Or do we do it, guys? I want to hear from you on this one. Do we do the bingo card as? Do we do it as a just Waymo? Do we do Waymo, Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Uber Eats? That's a lot of bingo cards to carry around. Might be more fun that way. But the company lines that we always hear from these stupid corporate representatives. Now, I was a public information officer of a search and rescue team, so I'm good at spewing and can read the BS a mile away too, so I understand that. But come on, when you keep coming up with the same old lines, I think we start a bingo card, we'll randomize it, and then everybody who wants to get a bingo card, you're going to be a member of my Patreon, and we'll give you we'll figure something out. We're gonna work on that. I want to hear from everybody what they think's a good idea to do with that. I want to start having some fun with this because so often I'm going through the corporate lines, Steve's going through the corporate lines, and if this is a collaboration thing between the two of us, cool, more the merrier. And I don't know, I think we should start having some fun with this. Now, back to the freaking story before I got way off in the damn weeds, but hold on, before I get back directly to the story. Let's cover the comments here. So California needs its own planet, says Bubba Sue. Holy smoke, I'm missing a lot of comments here. Let's see. It's also called New York. Yeah, absolutely, Steve. I mean, good old Mayor Monda blah 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 me. Monda blah blah me. Anyway, whatever. And Colorado, hell, I never thought I would be sad to see Diane DeGette go, but shit, she lost the primaries to a Democratic socialist. Anyway, holy crap, get me into the political deeps. But, honestly, when you start talking about legislation and stuff like that, you can't help but do it. And believe me, I've yelled at plenty of, dumb Republicans too. For stupid stuff, and including Scott Bottoms, who's in my own jurisdiction, told everybody it's stupid for them to vote for him because he couldn't even show up to vote. So how the hell can he be governor? Anyway, let's go back to chat and then let's get back to the show. All right, it's called New York. Cali should be just an independent country and quit feeding off the rest of us. Absolutely, Torp. Let's give them. Let's start a petition and help them become their own little world, except for a certain part of kind of northern-ish California. Some of those people are pretty cool. I mean, I got a good friend. He pops in here all the time that's in California. Joe, you're going to have to just come to Colorado, Idaho, where Jeff's at. Or somewhere else, Joe. We're gonna have to get you out of there. We've got to free Joe from California before we do that. But otherwise, yeah, Torp, let's let them become their own little country. And so, not sure what it was. Oh, Traveler, I resemble that mark. The New York thing. Come on, San Andreas. Yeah, exactly. We can have oceanfront property, Steve, if we go buy something over on the western slope. So let's see here. Nothing but love. California needs its own planet. Yep, covered that one absolutely. Hey, they could be the first people we send to Mars. Elon, go back to California. We can stay in Austin, whatever, but go send all the people there. Let's agree on the 5 boroughs in New York City. All right, let's see here. Play them all, got to be in with it. Holy smoke, now we're having a California conversation. I mean, New York news today. Let's see. Goes to... I think she was talking about Uranus, Steve, not anyway. What do you win? Hold on, let's see here. What do I win if I get a bingo? I don't know, Amy. That's what we're trying to determine. What do we win? Amy, you win a Waymo gift card. No, we're not going to do that to Amy, Steve. I might do it to you, but I mean, let's see. Let's play bingo. Bubba Sue says, well, there's a lot of dirt roads. Call in. Yo, what's up, Tim? Welcome in, brother. Keeping a Steve sounds like a loser gift. Yeah, see, Amy got it right. A Waymo gift card. It's a death gift and a look, a squirrel. That's how this show's gonna be. I can already tell. But it's gonna go over, guys. I mean, shit, we're already 20 minutes into it, and I've only covered 2 little tiny topics, and I literally have 11 pages here, not including the bonus topic that we talked about. So, yeah, see, Tim knows what. Playing that candy shop. I don't know what that is. So let's see. I'm going to save some of these comments just for the YouTube people for the replay and keep moving off. Yes, Toyo, and that's exactly why. Toyo says chat is off the rails. That's all right. Y'all keep having fun. We're going to keep having fun tonight and keep cruising and keep on keeping on, as David Spade says. So anyway, yeah, we got all those Waymos getting stuck because those idiots let the batteries deplete. I mean, come on, Waymo. Do we have to remind you to go pee before you leave the house in the morning? Before you go out for the day, make sure your batteries are fully charged. I mean, what the hell? This is stupid that they even had this problem. Now, San Francisco would be a little tough to navigate, but did they even anticipate this? Well, you know what? Damn it, they should have anticipated it. And when I said Waymo did something right, I'm gonna talk about a lot what I saw in this article. Is they made a very small comment. Let's go back to the Waymo spokesperson before I got freaking derailed. All right, so the spokesperson said the company's priority is keeping San Francisco moving safely, especially during major city celebrations. And the team worked quickly. Took 4 freaking hours to get some of these damn Waymos off the road. How is that quickly? Anyway, work quickly to clear out our vehicles from the area in coordination with local authorities and emergency services. That sounds like a bunch of fluff, right? Which pretty much most of it was. But says the spokesperson said the company's always evaluating ways to strengthen Waymo's resilience in major traffic disruptions. If you're not going to have a freaking major traffic disruption on the 250th birthday of this freaking country and they're shooting off fireworks from I get so pissed off at Waymo, I can't even freaking talk. But Golden Gate Bridge, around there, when is there going to be a bigger celebration? You know, we know the 49ers aren't going to win anytime soon. Sorry, 49er fan, not sorry. But so San Jose Sharks, they might get a cup sometime before the Red Wings. Anyway, but I mean, there's always stuff going on in San Francisco. I mean, what did they do during Pride Parade week? Did they handle that okay? But anyway, so some of them, they took 4 hours to get these things out of there because their batteries depleted. How many people ran out of gas? I bet nobody ran out of gas because I bet they didn't go into downtown without full fuel in their freaking vehicles. And so you're making the BART train look pretty good there, Waymo. I don't know what you got going on with it, but anyway, so Waymo in their statement said they work closely with city officials, the San Francisco Emergency Operations Center, the EOC, including preemptively embedding staff there. So for all you emergency management nerds, that means they were working with the SF1 transportation desk. Now, that's actually the smartest thing I've heard from Waymo, and actually being preemptive and proactive, not preemptive, because if it was preemptive, no, they're being proactive, but they still didn't plan properly. So the emergency manager nerd in me is coming out for a second here. I want to see what the after action review says on this. So what happens after a big incident is, well, before the incident, they will plan for it, and they'll create a report, and then they'll give it out to all the stakeholders and say, hey, here's your role, here's what's going on, this and that, and then they open up the emergency operations center and to make sure everything goes smoothly. And then when shit doesn't go smoothly, then they have plans already in place to see what happened. So I'd be really interested to see what was planned for this ahead of time. And then how well did they perform? Or did they totally miss the mark and screw this up? And then it becomes a big opportunity for improvement, as we call it in the emergency management world. So I can't wait. I'm going to get a hold of the emergency operations center, the emergency management department in San Francisco, and see if I can get a copy of the they call it an AAR, the after action review, and see what they were supposed to do versus what they did versus what the recommendations for improvement are. And then we'll see what kind of business partner you are, Waymo. And do you really want to, do you really care about the community and making improvements, or are you just full of crap like you've always been the rest of the time? But anyway, they did do something they tried to do something right, but still turned into a big fail when you have dozens of vehicles that are sitting there stranded, either stuck. And why are they always traffic jammed up? Holy crap. I mean, they're like a bunch of freaking, I don't know what kind of stupid things flock together whenever they get scared and afraid and everything. But whatever that is, that's what Waymo is right now. Oh my gosh. Waymo, you put me in cognitive overload and I can't even think about this. So anyway, that's what we got going on with Waymo. And now we're going to move on and we're going to talk a little bit, maybe, about Tesla. I know. You either love Tesla or hate Tesla, whatever. I think there's some really cool things. I think there's some stupid things that Elon does, but it is what it is, guys. It's, if you had $1 trillion, don't tell me you wouldn't do some crazy, weird crap like build a Cybertruck and some of this other stuff. But some of the things he's doing, someday I'll talk about it. I saw a theory from somebody about all the boring company, Tesla, SpaceX, and how all this ties together. It's really interesting theory. We'll have to bring our tinfoil hats on and be really open-minded for this, but it is kind of interesting. But so moving on to Tesla, the Robotaxi thing. We know they're starting to invade really, really heavily. Excuse me, I'm getting the hiccups. They've just now rolled out in West Miami. Now, this is the first market that they have unveiled or went into, whatever you want to call it, without having safety drivers. They went right out the gates just running autonomously. Now, of course, they did a bunch of testing and driving around like they've been doing down here in Colorado Springs and a whole other bunch of other markets all over the country, including, Denver and so on and so forth. But again, no safety monitor on board. And this is only their 5th city launch. So they are very aggressive. And honestly, guys, besides some of the really weird things, it looks like when you really push down to it, there's human problems aside from the camera things with things being obstructed and so on and so forth. They're still going to have to overcome those. But I think Tesla is the one that we got to keep an eye on. And guys, I always talk about is that we've got to be flexible and start looking towards what else are we going to do. Rideshare drivers, this is it. Now, food delivery people, we know when Waymo fails, they'll start doing DoorDash. So all DoorDash people are going to have to do something different too. Now, I say that sarcastically because that one's not going away anytime soon. But for rideshare drivers, y'all got to keep paying attention to what's going on here because, like it or not, this stuff's coming in aggressively. Y'all wonder why I talk about it. And yeah, we have a lot of interest in the failures, but there's a lot of success going on, in particular with Tesla. I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about those right now. And hope you all want to, hang in here into there. So, Tim says, need tunnels on the moon or Mars. Tim has seen that same thing that I saw. It'd be interesting. Tim, we'll have to see what your thoughts are. We might have to get you on the show when we talk about this one. But yeah, there's a huge tie to Mars with all these company and Elon's fascination with getting to Mars. You're on the button, Tim. That's exactly what it is. And I don't think it's that much of a conspiracy really when you start looking at it. So anyway, but back to the Robotaxi thing. So they just launched in Miami. They're not having any issues. I mean, any of the accident, they've had some catastrophic stuff. And there was even one last week I almost talked about, but when I looked at it, I'm like, if this thing was in FSD mode, why was he barreling down the streets at 80 some miles an hour? Well, what he did is he had his foot on the gas, so he overrode that portion of it. So it was no longer FSD, but it was self-driving, but it wasn't full self-driving. There's a whole lot of complications with that. So anyway, guys, you got to keep an eye out on this because number one, Elon has the money and he will throw money into stuff just to make sure it works and it's successful. Look at how many SpaceX rockets he's blown up just in the interest of science. You know, the guy blows away more money on, one little pet project than any of us, all of us collectively could fathom in our own lifetimes. So keep an eye out on what's going on in the robotaxi market. This is going to blow up, and this is what's going to take over rideshare and leave a whole lot of rideshare people going, what the hell happened? And so anyway, so besides that the the app is now letting you know when you have a vehicle that's either supervised or unsupervised, because in a lot of the markets, they are still doing that. Dallas is one of them where they're still doing some hybrid stuff. They're mostly autonomous at this point. Boston Drives, Matt, he talked about it on his X Space, his little ride that he had in Dallas, and it was a completely autonomous ride. It was a modified Y. It wasn't the official Cybercab. But since they have all this hybrid stuff, they're trying to be progressive in their transparency is the way it was reported, which I guess that's kind of it. That, says this ride will have a safety driver present in the driver's seat. Okay, but the one thing it's not doing is it's not reporting if you have a safety driver in the passenger seat, because sometimes they're doing that, collecting data and so on and so forth. So that screws things up for people who want to have, use all four seats or whatever with it, or maybe five. Maybe you can use five even in the Ys. I don't know if they can do that or not, but if there's not but the bigger concern I see in this is that if they're not notifying them when there's a safety driver or an observer, whatever they want to call it, in the passenger seat, they're not notifying people of that. And so that leaves an opportunity for somebody just getting this damn car, and then all of a sudden you got a whole nother problem whenever it shows up for the ride. Now, I don't know enough about how their inside systems work. We know it's happened with Waymo, where there was a report of the guy in the back of the hatch. We got kids hanging out on the outside of the vehicle. We got kids shooting. So there's a lot of problems with Waymos. I don't want to compare apples and oranges, but they're still both fruits. So some of those concerns need to be addressed and covered in it. But they're doing a lot more communicating with the passengers and what's going on with it. And so the other thing they're doing for the people that can't see, Tesla for the blind, they were just featured at the National Federation for the Blind annual convention in Austin, and they had a Tesla Cybercab, and it was showcasing things. These Cybercabs, they're putting Braille labels. Now, I don't know if it was just for the showcase or if they're putting these in all of them. It sounds like they're going to, if they haven't put stuff in for the blind. So they have Braille labels, and then they have space for the service animals, which is a really big deal. Anybody that transports blind people that have a guide dog with them, and then they're Braille printed promotional material. Okay, well, whatever. That's just anyway. So Elon made a comment saying that robotaxis must meet the needs of the blind. So they're really working to, again, be innovative and progressive, not this bullshit with like running Jags around that are been retrofitted. And I mean, even their Model Y seems to work better than the retrofitted Jag. So they have braille markings also on the hazard light button, and that button also functions as an emergency stop for the vehicle. So it's kind of weird, but I mean, at least there's an opportunity to be able to stop the vehicle. And then they have braille on the interior door releases as well. So they're doing a lot of progressive things while Waymo's still trying to figure out what side of the road to drive on. So I still think this is the one to keep an eye on. Bubba Sue, I saw that you made a comment. I just happened to glance over at chat and saw this, and that's one of the things that we're going to lead into for a second, is that go back over to chat here real quick. So Tim says he hasn't seen it. He's referring to the article that I saw, and I'm going to have to re-find it again. It might have been a video. You said you came up with all this quite a while ago. Yeah, it's pretty easy to connect those dots, right, Tim? So he's building rockets to go there. Yeah, man, the whole infrastructure looks like about what Elon is doing, and someday maybe we'll have to have a off the rails one on that. So it says, don't get you thinking Starlink is really going to be. Tim, we got to talk. You're gonna have to message me or something offline. I'm interested in what your Starlink theory is, because Conspiracy Tim, leave Conspiracy Tim alone. Gigwise Conspiracy Tim Outdoors, man, your username's going to get longer and longer, bro. So anyway, real quick here, Bubba Sue's comment was they're taking the steering wheel out of cars. We're going to talk about that in just a second, once we get to it, because then there's some conspiratorial. Tim, hang in there for this stuff going on with this that a lot of people don't like. Tim says, Google image search Johnny Cab Total Recall. It's caged so much for the visually impaired. Yeah, absolutely, Amy. I mean, I think it's really cool stuff that they're doing with that. There's also another comment about, that they make sure that, a wheelchair can fit in the back. Now, that's a question I have, is if the wheelchair, who's going to put the damn wheelchair in if it's an autonomous vehicle? Me as a rideshare driver, I'll get kicked off of Uber or Lyft if I go, I ain't putting your damn wheelchair in the car. So why I don't, it's kind of weird, that they have to make ADA accommodations, but how do you make an accommodation when you can't make an accommodation? But anyway, that was something that's kind of when I was reading through that crossed my mind, and it's kind of a sore spot for me. I've ranted about that before, and again, I mean, I think it's amazing when we do make reasonable accommodations for people, but I shouldn't be inconvenienced, nor should you be inconvenienced, with these accommodations. Now, inconvenience, a minor inconvenience, okay, suck it up, Buttercup, help them out. But if I'm a disabled person, I can't load that wheelchair in there. What am I going to do? But I'm not Cybercab, so I can get in trouble for it. But anyway, all right. So Steve says, no steering wheel will stop airbag theft. It will. That's a really great point. So will my insurance be less if I bought a Cybercab? Anyway, Tesla Android will take care of that wheelchair. Oh, okay. Yeah, good point. I don't like any of those freaking humanoid things, man. All those iRobot things, they creep me out worse than freaking a lot of them, than chimpanzees. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not afraid of them. I just don't like them. I just have a very strong bias against them. So there we go. I said it. Yes, I have bias. Everybody has bias. You just have to recognize it. Those two biases with chimpanzees and humanoid humanoid robot things, man, those things they're creepy. So who'll close the back of the Waymo after they pull the wheelchair out? Well, I mean, it's probably going to be a little more intelligent than the damn Jaguar, and it'll probably automatically close the hatch, probably open and close the hatch for you. So, yeah, exactly, Tim. But Amy wants her Rosie. Well, hey, as long as it doesn't look like freaking iRobot or some humanoid thing, Amy, have your Rosie, but especially if it looks that thing was just kind of cool. Looked like I think it was really cool. It looked like a metal Aunt Jemima. Just want to go up there and give it a hug and say, "Give me some pancakes." Anyway, tech should have paused for 20 years after the smart fridge. Dude, the smart fridge don't even work right. I can get into that one. How did we turn this into Tim? I'm saving that one for the YouTube viewers. How did we turn into a anti-tech channel here tonight? But whatever, I have fun with this stuff, so I'm glad you guys are enjoying the conversation too. But yeah, so to the brake pedals thing, so the NHTSA, they plan on changing, here we go, FMVSS number 135. What is that? That's a document that tells you the rules and regulations of the road and for the manufacturers and what they can do with certain things and this and that. And under this regulation, they're saying that autonomous vehicles are no longer going to have to have a brake pedal. I still don't like this no brake pedal, no steering wheel thing, just because if you got to move the damn thing and you're in law enforcement, what do you do? Well, if you're a tow truck driver, it's an easy answer. You just hook it and drag it, and who cares? And hopefully they've got some good hold harmless agreements when they let them operate these things in here. But I think that's a problem, and I get. But then there's a bigger problem? Having the steering wheel in an autonomous vehicle that some drunken idiot 15-year-old can frickin' take over and do something even dumber with, or taking the steering wheels out. I don't know. Now, within this same change, this is one that, while we're going down the crazy train tonight, we might as well address this a little bit. But there's a lot of regulations in this new regulation, anyway, that would require driver monitoring systems. I don't know if y'all have been hearing about this. They want to require driver monitoring systems in all new models after this year. Now, I don't think it's going to get passed right now, but do you want the manufacturers monitoring you? I mean, shit, why not? We've surrendered everything to either Apple or Android, and every damn website in the world, and YouTube and everything else. So why is that a problem? Now, I'll tell you, I don't like it. I know a lot of people that have, pulled the little fuse out of their OnStar monitoring systems, because we know that GM, was it GM? I think it was GM, got in trouble for having OnStar got in trouble because they were collecting and selling the information to your insurance company, and about your, driving location, driving habits, so on and so forth, and all this. So, we know all the big thing about, absolutely, telematics. That's what I was just getting ready to head to, Tim. I mean, any of us that do any gig work, that's exactly where we got Flock watching us. We are so big brothered to death, they really don't even need to put it in our damn vehicles, because guess what? it's already there. And if you're a subscriber to like any of the newer vehicles, mine's still right on the edge of not having that, where you don't have an app for your vehicle. All that crap's all Big Brother stuff. They just want to collect data on you. You know, that's what this is. That's what this is coming down to. Holy crap, we went way down the frickin' rabbit hole tonight, guys. We're not even in the meat of anything. We're gonna have to save. I'm gonna have to do one of these. But anyway, no, we're having fun. I'm enjoying the conversation. Let's keep it rolling. But what is too much surveillance, particularly for delivery workers and rideshare drivers? We're out there putting on all these miles, putting this, putting that. I have no idea how many times damn flock cameras have pinged my vehicle. In fact, can you, since they're a private company, you probably can't do a request, but I wonder if I could do a request from Colorado Springs Police Department and see what I could get and see how many times my vehicle has been pinged by these flock cameras, because we have a lot of them in Colorado Springs. So anyway, Levi, welcome in, brother. So I don't know, we just great rabbit hole to go down. Thank you. Thanks, Levi. No, I think so too. And so I don't know, guys, we got a whole lot of stuff going on with everything with it. But yet, meanwhile, we still keep having all kinds of crazy crime and other things going on, like this Delaware Lyft driver that got carjacked over the weekend. So this guy, about 6:45 p.m. on Saturday, says the driver picked up 3 people in Dover. Okay. And then they went to go take them to another town nearby. I mean, Delaware's the size of freaking Colorado Springs. So, okay, it's probably maybe a few square miles bigger than that, but it's so small, but takes a long time to get out there. But anyway, I digress, as I've been doing all night. Get rid of this Tesla logo. We're not talking about you anymore, Tesla. Get off my screen, Tesla. Anyway, goes picks these 3 guys up, and then meanwhile, one of the suspects pulls a gun out and tells him to get the hell out of the vehicle. So he complies, smart guy. And then another guy jumps in the passenger seat. Well, okay, that's pretty horrific, pretty tragic. It was 6:45 p.m., so it's still daylight. So what happened? Could this have been prevented? Well, let me tell you something here. So here's what else I saw in this article. The very end of it says, police also say the 3 suspects had their hoods up. I'm not going to do it. Anyway, had their hoods up and had black face masks covering their faces. Rideshare drivers, that's kind of a red flag. I'm sorry, that just, I may have let some lady get one on me the other day by hiding a kid and then bringing him out without a car seat on me. But 3 guys without masks, or with masks on, with black face masks. Come on, COVID's over, and I'm guessing these were younger individuals. And you'll see single people that get kind of paranoid, and they're still masking up. Or you have people that are, that have a severe autoimmune issue. They're going through cancer or whatever. But 3 people all masked up. I'm sorry, I'm not giving your ass a ride. Sorry. Maybe I'm still traumatized from my last experience or whatever, but no, I'm not. I wouldn't have done that at all. I mean, I had a experience, this just triggered a memory of an experience one time where I went to pick these guys up middle of the day, and they all 3, and it was 3 of them, ironically, come out of the freaking window of the house, not the front door, but a window at the side. I'm like, hell no. I just like canceled the ride. I just turned around, get the hell out of there, and canceled the ride. I don't know what kind of stupid crap they were up to or whatever, but it's like, nope, ain't happening. We're not doing that today. So that definitely was a red flag. I think there was some opportunity for that not to happen. I hope the driver's okay. Didn't say anything about him being injured or whatever. But let's take this as a lesson, guys. If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. And these guys were quacking before they got in the damn car. So don't give the ducks a ride. Moral of the story. So, all right. Let's see what else we got here. Let's go back to the chat here real quick while we're between stuff. Torp says, I drive like my brakes don't work. Well, that's why you get to deliver hot dogs, man, instead of people, because they will complain. Unless you're Levi, he's like the most gentleman driver I think out there. He's got an awesome driving score. I can't say I got the same driving score, Levi. I've seen, you post stuff in the past, and that's really awesome of you that you're able to pull that off. I keep getting the heavy acceleration stuff, so I can't get above 90, man. So anyway, but yeah. Mask people, no ride. Absolutely, Levi. 100%. Awesome Amy says, nope, no entry. Good call, Shawn. They probably have tuberculosis, says Steve. Well, if it was Doc Holliday, I probably would have given him a ride just for the risk, and we both could have masked up. But anyway, quack, 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 says Levi. Let's see. Hilton, no. Well, people can, yes, they can, Torp. Yeah, see, 98. Levi always has this damn driving score. I'm not gonna say I'm jealous, but I definitely notice, right, man? If I'm calling you out on your awesome driving score, I don't know what it is, man. I think 94 is the highest I ever get, and it's almost just comical at this point. I just, I mean, yeah, some of it I do know I'm probably a little more aggressive than I can be, but I still have a really good, tip ratio. Levi's got an amazing tip ratio. I've got a good tip ratio, so I'm well above the average, and I do believe his driving habits and style and probably his personality, do play a lot into it. So. I think that's definitely a contributor, but I'm sorry, my personality is what it is. That's what makes us individuals, makes us great people. And so, you use FSD on chill mode. So you're using cheater mode then. That's what it is. So you're in grandpa mode and you're telling people and you're bragging about your so they're getting to enjoy the experience. They're getting the experience of FSD. Dude, you're brilliant. I think I need to go get a Tesla, but I don't know if I could do that. Yeah, use FSD on chill mode. That's the way to do it. So, I think everybody knows who Levi is, but if not, give him a follow if you're not in there following him. He's good people. Definitely different content than what Steve and I do, but he's like, I just don't know how to describe it, but he's got some really enjoyable content. And he does a lot of dash cam stuff too, and shares his experiences with riders and good, bad, and indifferent. So he's got some cool content that's different than what a lot of us do. So anyway, check it out if you haven't checked him out. And then let's see, Traveler says, I'd take me forever to go cross country in a Tesla. Well, it might take you forever if you get in the wrong part and forget to hit a supercharger. So I'm going to save this one. We were talking about the co-op endangering the UK with robots. So there's a cooperative over in the UK, and they've partnered up with a rideshare with a company similar to Dot. We'll save that one. We'll talk about that maybe Thursday with Steve and I, because, we know Steve loves the delivery robots. So maybe we'll put that one in there. But anyway, that's what we got going on. Let's see here. One more rideshare pass. This is about rideshare passenger safety, guys. While we're in all of this, we got this fine specimen of a human being. So this piece of crap, as I will affectionately call him, instead of Christopher Edwards, he got arrested in Kenosha, Wisconsin for sexually assaulting his Lyft driver. Dude's 19 years old and already screwing up his life forever over stupid crap. And he got arrested for it. So, okay, it's not like, usually if something like that goes on, they're going to investigate it for a while or whatever. And I'm sorry, you got to get off my screen, dude. And so it was a third degree. So I don't want to minimize it, but it wasn't extremely aggressive, for lack of a better term. But it's still a felony, and he's still an idiot. He also got charged with disorderly conduct, too. So it sounds like something probably argumentative happened either between him and the Lyft driver and him, or him and the cops with it. But he's out on a cash bail of $15,000. And after he made his initial appearance on Monday afternoon. So there's our crappy passenger for the week that exceeds anything I've had. Levi had a bad one not too long ago too. So yeah, see, that's what I like with Levi, is you seem like all of your stuff is real content. I don't want to say seem. I started to say that, but I backtracked on it because all your stuff is legit content, kind of like mine. You get what you get. I'm not everybody's flavor of ice cream, and I'm okay with that. I'm not trying to be offensive to anybody. But anyway, so why? But no, how many times do I have to keep talking about all these things? Passengers are, rideshare safety is a bunch of crap. And I guarantee this new stuff with Lyft or Uber, and we're going to look at 99 years and this and that. It's a bunch of crap. And we've covered that. Maybe Steve and I will get back into it again, since it's kind of a hot topic and everybody thinks all of a sudden, it's going to get so much safer. No, bullshit. It's not going to get safer. It's just as bad as it was. We're going to have predators like this piece of crap. We're going to have people like the one that frickin' carjacked the dude in Delaware. Rideshare's not getting any safer, guys. Food delivery's not anywhere, any closer. Just because we haven't had as many of them. So. Welcome in, Rick. I see you in there, brother. How you doing? Yeah, meth heads, exactly, Levi. That's what this is about. So, I have a very, very long one I am not going to bore you guys with tonight. It's very legislative, but I'm going to touch on it for 2 seconds because this is a long, ongoing thing. But it's called the Fong-Gillen Amendment. Steve first talked about it on his podcast, and then where they went and snuck in some language at literally at 2:00 in the morning. We're not going to go into this because I literally have an entire episode on it. I'm going to do a long form video on it. But guys, please go listen to it because this is going to affect everybody. So basically what's happening, and I've talked about this, but we got some people in here that aren't always in here, is Uber and Lyft heavily lobbied, and I have everything listed for who lobbied and this and that. But Uber and Lyft are the biggest ones. Uber contributed over $1 million lobbying, and Lyft like 150,000. I don't remember exactly where it is. I'm not going to go through all this tonight to try and get this language in there. And what's going to happen is that an accident happens. The drivers and the passengers, and this also falls to to food delivery workers too. Something happens to you that would have been previously insurable is no longer going to be insurable unless there's gross negligence. So what gross negligence means is that they pretty much just saw it coming and just disregarded it, or they willfully let something that they knew was going to happen. Other than that, passengers are out on their own, drivers are out on their own, food delivery workers are out on their own, food delivery recipients that might have had a claim are all going to be on their own if this legislation passes. Now, we have until about September 27th that they've got 27th. Anyway, end of September that it's got to get passed as part of the transportation bill. That's when the funding for the transportation bill runs out. Short version is that because there's so much crap in there and then so much, pork belly crap like this that's been thrown into it, it's probably, guys, don't go to sleep on your pillow thinking this is going to go away. It's probably not going to pass at this time, but we've got to start making contact with our legislators, tell them this stupid little amendment has to get pulled out. And, Fong, shame on you. Gillian, shame on you. Fong's out of California. I don't know where, or Gillen, Gilen, where you're out of, but shame on you for taking the big suitcases of money and the PAC money and super PAC money. It's loaded money to get this in there. But we got to start making everybody aware of it. We got to get them pull this out of there sooner than the 11th hour. But so that's really the short version of this. It's heavily lobbied. We get into the whole 3-period dilemma and everything else. But basically, your insurance isn't going to cover any of this crap because then they're going to find a reason. Most people don't carry rideshare coverage or coverage for their for food delivery because there's not a lot of insurance companies that'll cover it. I have addendums that I've made declarations on to my insurance companies, and honestly, it's kind of weird how they're like, oh yeah, we do that and this and that, and then they're like, but you're not doing that. And no, it's kind of like they just sit there and cross their fingers. Your insurance agent cross fingers that they don't hope you don't ever get a claim, and then they have to go back. Oh, well, I didn't say that. I read the policy, and it's really kind of convoluted, and they're not expensive. So for me, it's a literal insurance additional layer, but it only covers the period that I'm not driving. So, but at least I'm making a declaration to my insurance company that I am doing these kind of activities. So, but what's going to happen if this thing passes? It's all going to fall on the burden of the rideshare drivers and the food delivery workers. Now, all of a sudden, my $30 a month rideshare addendum is going to become a $300. Well, then, okay, well, why don't I get commercial insurance? Well, commercial insurance will probably skyrocket to about $3,000 a month instead of $1,000 a month. Now I'm just pulling numbers out of my ass, guys. Don't go quoting me saying he said it's going to triple. Do I think that? Sure, that's why I'm pulling those numbers out of my ass. But I'm not giving you anything quantifiable at this point. But they will go up. Absolutely guaranteed, because somebody has to pay for this. And why the hell the insurance companies aren't jumping on this, going, Uber, Lyft, who are all self-insured, by the way, which is a whole nother topic for another time, as some other content creators have kind of tapped into this, and it's starting to come to the surface. And Rideshare Guys did a really good job with some of this stuff, how Uber and Lyft, and then particularly about the price differences in insurance. None of that's going to change. The customers are still going to pay the same, and then our insurance premiums are going to go up. And then what's going to happen is like here in Colorado. Colorado is one of the highest uninsured states in the country. That's why my insurance is so high. It's because the insurance is high. So it keeps going up and up. And so we're going to have more people that are uninsured driving out there. Now, DoorDash, we heard, they were talking about that with is that with Steve is that, now they want to reward you for not having, to show proof that you have insurance on DoorDash. There was that email that was sent out. We talked about that on Thursday. So now they'll end up making it a requirement. And so they'll have to make it a requirement, because then otherwise it would be gross negligence on their part. Now, they don't care if it's a real insurance certificate or not, because they'll just have their plausible deniability to go, oh, that was our insurance. They showed us that insurance certificate and we didn't know it wasn't valid. So, guys, this is going to be a discussion we're going to continue to have. We're going to continue to bore you with, but I am going to do a really long video on it, because I got way down the rabbit hole doing a ton of research on this. And probably something I can break up into a bunch of short videos for people that have a shorter attention span, like I do sometimes when I'm doom scrolling. So anyway, this is something really, really important, guys. Please don't forget about it. And I'm going to keep reminding you, we're going to keep talking about it, because we got to start doing stuff, getting a hold of our legislators and getting involved. We can sit here and come on here and, and hoorah, and talk about things. But guys, and if there's something I can do to help you get involved, Steve, help you get involved, I bet Levi'd be willing to help you as well. We've got a great community of people here. We've got to start getting involved and changing the course of things, because there's not a lot left with rideshare. People are driving Teslas. They're going to be getting the Robotaxi update, and they're going to still be making money. They're going to take when they were they're in their taxi and keep going on. And we've got to evolve. We've got to change. But right now, we've got to slow some of this stuff down, because it's detrimental to the overall, just the overall gig community. And then from the consumer standpoint too, it's not good for the consumers. We're all going to pay for it negatively. So anyway, Steve, I told you we were going to talk about eVTOL. So let's start winding up and talk about a little eVTOL. So one company I don't talk about very much in the air taxi, the upcoming air taxi. Yes, Sue. Yes, Steve. They're coming, whether you like it or not. We're having some. We're gonna have some Jetsons flying cars out here, and I can't wait. I ain't gonna lie. I'm super excited. I want to get in one of these things. Sue gives a thumbs down already. Man, she was quick on the button for that. I said eVTOL, and she's already hammering that thing, going, no, screw that thing. Anyway, Sue's we talk about old man screaming at the clouds. Sue's a lady screaming at the Jetsons mom, get out of my airspace. But anyway, so one company I don't know that I've ever mentioned is a company by the name of Whisk. And I think maybe when I first did kind of a breakdown on this and starting my challenge with Steve, I may have mentioned Whisk, but Whisk is a company that's a subsidiary of Boeing. And they are now being sued by a former employee, and we don't hear anything about Whisk. We hear about Archer, we hear about Joby, we hear about, some Chinese companies, but we don't hear a lot about Whisk. And it sounds like they're really failing, and they may have been making some compromises, and they had an employee that turned into a whistleblower. And so they're being sued, and she's making claims that she was fired for reporting the software behind the autonomous air taxi failed to meet basic aviation software testing requirements, not the advanced requirements that they have for the eVTOL vehicles, but the basic standards that are already set and established with it. So she went and filed her lawsuit after what had happened was that she reported it to the initial internal safety reporting system, as she was supposed to, just following through the chain. And then nothing happened to there. And then she went to the company's head of safety, and then a couple days later got fired for it. So I don't know, Boeing, I hope you can dig into your eVTOL funds, because that piggy bank better be full, because it sounds like she's got a good case here with it. So she says she spent years at WISP believing the company's mission and the future of this technology. O'Neill wrote in a statement that, when I raised safety concerns to the company, I did also because I believed it was the right thing to do, not just for myself, but for every passenger who would one day fly with this technology. So we don't have any of these things FAA approved, and we've got whistleblowers coming out. I know, Steve, I'm giving you some thunder here on your anti-eVTOL thing, but this is the reality of what's going on with it. I mean, we've got, Archer and Joby are in the middle of a lawsuit, so that's what happens with a lot of this. I mean, this isn't any different. I mean, hell, look what, Tesla and Edison, look what happened with them. And I'm talking about Nikola Tesla, not Tesla car company. So catch up, people. But yeah, so they're having all kinds of problems already. And this what happens with new innovations, big risk, big reward. But sounds like Boeing may be taking some big risks that's going to compromise the safety. So it's a VMS system, and it's basically the aircraft operating systems as described. It coordinates all the major onboard systems like the sensors, batteries, motors, flight controls, and communications. Those sound like important things. And again, so you hear some of that stuff. Yeah, it is basic, comms is a basic comms thing, but there's not going to be a lot of change with that. I'm sure they're going to, work under the same protocols. And a lot of the flight controls are going to be very similar, because that's what makes them quick and easy to fly and be able to get into. So failures, great fly in the air. Yes, that's what's going to happen, Sue. They're going to have failures flying in the air. But so she claims there was known defects that they were covering up, and then excessive amounts of spaghetti code. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not a coder, but I would assume that means that there was, a bunch of redundant code, and probably code that either did nothing or whatever, which would slow an operating system down. I do know that much about coding. So anyway, so we'll have to see what's going on with that. But so she got fired, and then she complains. Her complaint says that it was falls under the California Labor Code, which is the 1102.5, which is the state whistleblower protection statute, and then also 6310, which bars retaliation against employees who report unsafe work conditions. So it looks like a pretty simple lawsuit, but I think she's more in the interest of trying to figure out what's going to be in the best interest of flight safety. So good for her. She's no Erin Brockovich, but you know what? These are the types of leaders and people that we need whenever all this stuff is coming in, with all the eVTOL that's evolving and going to be flying really quickly next year. Quick follow-up note. Last week I talked about Joby and Toyota and their joint venture. It's pretty interesting. Toyota has a heavy investment in this, guys. Found a couple other things I thought I'd share with you real quick. Is that Toyota is now going to be doing 51% of the manufacturing of the S4 air taxi. The Joby is the S4. That's the one that we keep seeing in everything. It's going to be next year, Bubba Sue. And so 51% of the manufacturing get a pretty high stake, and they have exclusive rights to build the S4. So it's not like they're going to be able, like Jeeps during World War II, where Ford was making some, AMC was making some, and so on and so forth. They're going to have exclusivity to it. It's not going to be a contract out to anybody else. But with that, they also tie a $250 million additional investment to Joby if they make it certification and production targets. So there's literal money at stake here to get that done. Toyota's all in, guys. I mean, Toyota's it has been really slow to innovate lately. But I think on this side venture that they've got going on with Joby, I think they're being very assertive and very progressive with it. So we'll have to see what happens with it. But anyway, yes, next year, Bubba Sue, that's when they're all going to be coming out. Guys, thank you so much for coming in. Again, we got a lot to talk about on Thursday. We got some leftover stuff from here tonight with Steve and I. Same time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Meanwhile, for those of you who came in late, like Rick, look forward to hearing your comments on the replay. And if you want to hear it on the podcast, don't forget to look up the Rideshare Zone. Y'all have a great evening. Thanks for coming in. Be safe. Have a wonderful week.